4, 3, 2, 1. And we aren't live, but we're recording. Welcome to the Dangerzone. I'm here with Zach Zobrist.
And I'm here with Dangerzone.
Yeah, welcome to the Dangerzone. We're actually at the compound, a secret, undisclosed location for R&D.
And it shall remain that way.
Yeah. Our R&D facility / testing site for the off-road racing team, which we will get into and explain. But first things first, let's get some drinks poured up.
A little bit of Davenport's finest distilled right here in Davenport. Well, LeClaire, actually.
Well, an undisclosed location.
It's distilled in an undisclosed location.
Oh, man.
Clinky.
Yeah, clink. So,
I can dig.
that's pretty good. For those of you who listen to this, you might not have heard that, but that little clink of setting the glass down, we're actually using, was that our little secret? Or
Oh, no.
Oh, yeah. So we're using jacks. I got a nice 4-ton jack over here that's jacked up all the way, and it's holding my drink.
Mine's only a 3-ton, but it's not the size. It's really how you use it.
It is, yeah. But let's go into let me set this up a little bit. Last time we saw each other was at Camp Razor East, and how long ago was that?
September last year, I believe.
September last year, yeah. So it's been a while. Not as long,
great time.
Not as long as before, and we've kept in pretty good communication since then. And I think didn't you come down to Texas? Was that before or after?
That was before.
That was
I was
before,
down there for work and stayed an extra day or two and come and saw your compound.
Yeah. But Camp Razor East was a blast, and that's what where we got our inspiration for like what brings us here to the compound, like while we're building an off-road racing team. And it all started at Camp Razor East. Well, it didn't start there. It started
a long time ago, but it kind of more or less came to fruition there, and thought that this could be something that we might actually be able to pull off.
Yeah, that was the catalyst, if you will.
I will.
Of like years of train wreck coming, get like all the things that need to happen for like a train wreck to happen. It was but this isn't a train wreck. So Warfighter Made sent us out there. Let's talk a little bit about Rob, because you knew him before I did.
Yeah, he was. I first met him over in Okinawa at Third. He was with SOTG. He was an instructor, and I was helping out. And so that's why I kind of briefly met him. And then he came over to First a while after that, and then we never really associated much until after. And then we saw him at the Mid 400 promoting Warfighter Made, and I was in Los Angeles for work last spring, I think it was, and so I went down and saw their new building and got to talking with him. I went down there to spend about 10 minutes to say hi, and ended up talking to him for about 6 hours, and before he left, he's like, you know what, I want to send you and another guy to Camp Razor East. I was like, all right, I know just the guy. That's when I left and called you on the way, stuck in traffic on the 405. I was like, hey, I think I said, what are you doing that weekend? He said, I think that's Christine's birthday weekend. Like, well, she'll have to forgive me because you're coming to Camp Razor with me. And I'm pretty sure she should forgive me.
Yeah. I'm really bad about that. I miss a lot of birthdays, but so you called me up, and it was just, I think I'd already researched Camp Razor. And so I was like, man, that's something cool I want to do. And then you called me up and were like, dude, we have a chance to go. I was like, yeah, I'm definitely like all about it. But I met Rob. I think I had seen him at First, like before we deployed during our workup. I think Gunny Davis brought him out.
Yeah, he was at that Combat Town. He was like the RSO for that. So
and he came in and he gave us a talk. It was like he kind of told his story, and then kind of, I remember it. Like it was a very good talk of like mindset and what it takes to, go into combat, and what you need to be prepared to basically take it to the next level. And did we?
That we did.
Shortly after that, because that was towards the end of our workup.
It was, yeah.
And shortly after, we found ourselves in
the level was raised
outside of Marcia and singing, and we were your finger sweeping across roads with your big old banana fingers.
Yeah, these fingers saved a couple IED blasts. So,
dude, why don't you? I want to get back to Camp Razor a little later, but
real quick before I forget, before we started this, so I got a sweatshirt on and you got some clothes on. I was thinking, because we were sitting here and it got cold pretty fast tonight.
Yeah.
And I was like, the last time I was sitting here cold was when we were on stage with Big and Rich, and I took my sweatshirt off and you took yours off so that we had the Warfighter made T-shirt, and it was like 30 degrees out there, so we were just sitting there like trying to pretend like I was tapping to the music, but I was just like shivering, like almost like going into convulsions.
Yeah. For those of you that haven't seen it, there's a video that Destination Polaris is a show, and they show it on Fox Sports, and they kind of followed us around. They're out there covering Camp Razor, and then they did a little segment on us while we were there. So that's up on YouTube. It's on, if you're watching this on my YouTube page, you can see it on there, or you can just search Destination Polaris and look for the Camp Razor East episode.
Episode 2.
Yeah. But I have also put together a video, the VIP tour with Zach and Dan, just from us messing around, especially that first day when it was raining and nobody
almost had the place to ourselves.
Yeah, like nobody wants to go out when it's raining. It's like, dude, it was perfect. Luckily, the Stadies or what the National Park Service didn't want to go out either.
Yeah. We were exceeding their speed limits.
Yeah, which we found out the next day that there was one.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I made a pretty interesting video that just kind of compilation of the GoPro footage we got, and us being on stage with Big and Rich was awesome.
It's pretty surreal.
Yeah.
Super nice guys too.
Yeah, I didn't, for whatever reason, it didn't click with me like how big of patriots those guys are.
Oh, absolutely. I've been to a couple of their concerts before, and yeah, they put on a great show. And that's like when we were eating dinner, and Danielle came up and was like, "Do you guys want to meet Big and Rich?" And I didn't care less about meeting celebrities, but I was like, I want to tell them about Warfighter Made and what they're doing.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, when we got to it and we told them what happened, like, you guys can come on stage. I'm like, all right, sure. We'll give Warfighter Made a good plug.
Yeah. And dude, yeah, I was freezing. Yeah. But I was like, you know what? No, we have to rep these shirts. Like, people got to see the shirts. I was actually wearing this one, I think.
Yeah, I was wearing my black one. Yeah. That was a cool night.
Yeah. But let's go back to finger sweeping.
No.
So, like, try and give people this image. I was the medic in our platoon, recon platoon, and so I was like towards the back of the patrol line, for whatever reason. I mean, I guess so. If an ID went off, I wasn't.
Safe, yeah.
But not that you guys weren't capable of taking care of casualties, But so yeah, I was always back towards the back, and I didn't actually know some of the stuff that Zach went through, like, because you're just kind of walking and like.
It's following the chem lights.
Dude, not everybody had a radio either.
No, they didn't. Yeah, like I remember like talking to Jake. He's like, "Yeah, we just followed your guys' chem lights, and that was that." How sometimes it zigzagged. Like, well, it zigzagged because that was a place we didn't want to go.
It was like your ATL and TL had radios, and then the rest was like hand and arm signals, because you can like speak without saying a word, but all you get is a halt. You don't know, like. There's not really a finger, hand, and arm signal for, hey, we're stopped. Zach is finger sweeping for an IED right now. Like
him and Gates are on their hands.
I guess
and knees.
Could,
or stick.
Yeah,
like there. Sometimes like you'd go through a canal. And it was, call it caveman tactics. But I just grabbed me like a 10-foot long stick, and we just kind of wave it in front of us so you catch any tripwires that might be there.
Yeah.
And like Gates had the metal detector, which. Taliban got smart and started using carbon rods instead of metal for the pressure plates. So metal detector won't pick it up. So yeah, go across all the roads. Me and Gates were literally side by side, just finger sweeping. Like probably one of the biggest like gut, like sickness to your gut feelings, I guess. I don't know if that's the best way to put it, but you're finger sweeping, so you're pretty much just like barely raking your fingers over the dirt, and if you feel any loose dirt compared to any harder dirt that you're going over, and it's freshly dug dirt, so there's probably something there. But like when you're running your fingers across, and all of a sudden you just feel them drop over a small ledge, like oh shit, that is a pressure plate right there. Let's back up a little bit and let's go this way, because like when we be doing our.
And how close is that to your face? I mean, you're
inches.
on your hands and knees, and like if you imagine just crawling across the floor and like raking your fingers out in front of you.
Good thing is
like,
we wouldn't have felt it if it would have went off. So,
dude, we were pretty good at finding IEDs. And you guys were.
Yeah,
guys were.
So there were times. So I mean, instead of just like I'd ask Lieutenant Dan like, yo, what do I have to do? I was like, yeah, just find another route. I mean, there would be times where if we would have stopped for everyone and called EOD, it would have taken us 30 hours to move. So we're just like, all right, well, let's go a different route. All right, go different. And so we're just doing like the whole little zigzag, and hey, we got there every time without blowing people up. So,
dude, yeah,
it was just me and Gates were just on our hands and knees, and we were just having a conversation. I mean, and it just got
It was. We had 3 guys step on IEDs at a point.
Yeah,
right.
Bad ways.
Yeah, and
we had Doc Raffetto.
Yeah,
Blank.
But no, but it was never like from you leading the patrol. So
no, it wasn't just the one that apparently I decided to drive over an IED and say, "Oh fuck it, let's go."
Yeah,
because apparently that's the story.
Oh fuck, I forgot that one. Yeah, Zach had a IED in his truck. Man,
well, I walked out alive. That was good.
Yeah. What I think I interrupted you. What were you going to say about you and Gates would be talking about it?
Oh yeah, we'd just be like just having a conversation. After a while, we just you're on your hands and knees for after the 40th crossing. You just get to talking, and there'd be we walk by a couple cows. I'm like, hey Gates, you know how those cows got there? In a moving van. I was like, shut up, Zach. It's so funny. Gates probably one of not probably the best point man you could ever ask for. Such a good guy, very intuitive, and like I said, the 2 of us together, I don't think there's nothing we couldn't do.
Yeah. Well, I sure as hell was thankful you guys were good at your job, so I didn't have to do mine.
Yeah. And that was sucks since we were, because even like all of our company movements, our platoon will go out first, like 2 hours ahead, blaze the trail, and then leave chem lights behind, and then they can just, let's go follow the chem lights and go.
Yeah.
Like, you're welcome. No, but yeah, there's a good reason we got picked for a lot of stuff, because, Bravo 3 was the platoon.
Yeah. We were far superior, as my Polish buddy says, far superior. And, every way, really. Just way more relaxed. We're the chill platoon.
Yeah.
We're the fun platoon. We're all about having the fun.
That we did.
And we took things as serious as they needed to be taken care of. And there was
no more.
Yeah, no more, no less. And that made us very proficient and not stressed out all the time over nothing.
Sometimes we pushed it a bit.
Yeah.
Remember on top of the hill with Gunny Davis, and we were singing karaoke or whatever.
It was riding motorcycles through the moon.
Motorcycles on the moon.
The
MGMT
song, where in the music video they ride motorcycles through the moon.
Yeah. Yeah, we were singing, and he didn't think it was too funny. He's like, guys, it's quiet. I'm like, okay, we're good.
I was always having
someone played another song, and we started breaking it out, and he got angry.
It was a full rave dance party as we're like waiting for Cobras to come in and do a gun run. Which
never happened, so we were just trying to entertain ourselves.
The Cobras never came. Yeah.
That was the 20 rocks. Remember that?
Oh, go grab.
You almost screwed us on that.
Yeah, I went and grabbed big.
You were new to the platoon and trying to be the overachiever.
Yeah. Well, I've always been that way. Like all through life, I'm gonna win. I'm very competitive, so I'm gonna grab the biggest fucking rocks. He said, "Go grab 20 rocks." Right?
Yeah, man, grab 20 rocks right now. You have 10 minutes. And
Yeah.
lay them out for me to count. Like, okay. So
And so I went and grabbed.
well, me and Robbie go grab, a couple handful of rocks, all the same
Yeah.
size, rock, and we lay them out. And, we got ours done. And we look over. Dan's got 3 rocks. And they're like the size of this. He's like, Dan, what the fuck? What are you doing? If you get 20 of those this size and ours are this big, he's going to make us all do it all over again,
Yeah, that was that was hilarious. Yeah, I grabbed like the biggest one I could find.
I see Dan, like up on top of the hill, just.
Yeah. I like lifting heavy things, picking them up and putting them down.
Well, you rock.
Zach is like the king of all puns. You and Robbie, dude. Man, I'll come in every once in a while, and I feel like a big time achievement. If I can like make Zach laugh when I make a pun, I'm like, yeah. Yes, got in there.
He makes the world go round.
Oh yeah,
My world at least.
Decrease stress, increase laughter.
Yeah. Someone asked me this one time, and it was easy for me. But if you had to live without, or if you had to choose one thing to live with and one without, if you had to choose between music or humor, which one would you choose to live with and without?
I would live with humor.
That's what I do.
Dude,
Like
yeah.
hands down humor. And then like Jake, he's like music, absolutely hands down. Jake's a big music buff, But there's like most people, I'd say 90% of people say, "Oh, music." I was like, I couldn't live without humor. I could live without music, no problem.
Well, Jake can do the best Michael Jackson impersonation.
Jake does better Michael Jackson than Michael Jackson did.
Yeah. Well, when you watch his videos and study them, like
yeah. And so mine was like easy humor,
that was always interesting to me. That it's just very unexpected to walk in a Recon Marines room and he's like studying videos of Michael Jackson, like out of all people.
You want to get good at something, you study it.
But guess what? The ladies love
he
it.
He kills it. Yeah. He killed it.
He can dance. I can dance, but it's freestyle. Like I'm doing whatever the rhythm tells me. Yeah. Oh.
But you know what? You can dance if you want to.
You can leave your friends behind. Yeah, humor all the way, dude.
Yeah, hands down.
Music, I mean, are you saying like recorded music, or can I still be like, yeah, all right.
It's just a generic question, music or humor.
But I sing my own songs all the time. The best thing to do for me is, as far as like making up my own songs to other ones, is country songs. They're super easy.
Oh, you mean like who's that one guy, Chris LeDux?
Yeah, my favorite country music star of all times is actually several. It's Rascal Flatts. I hope Jake is listening.
Jake's head is exploding right now.
Because Chris LeDoux, I mean, let's be honest. I mean, rodeos, really? That's all you got? Rascal Flatts is singing about emotion, love, the beauty of life, like a lot deeper, a lot
He's
more.
not even listening to this right now. His head's exploding.
Yeah, so I definitely didn't. For growing up in Arkansas and listening to country all my life, I don't know how I somehow missed Chris LeDux, as I called him.
He's like he's like one of the staples of good country music. I don't listen to modern country music
Except Rascal Flatts, of course.
Oh yeah, I listen to their podcast. They listen to ours. It's a mutual relationship. But yeah, so I mean, he's a milestone in the country sector, and so me and Jake would listen to him. And Danny comes in. I don't know if we were in Afghanistan by this time, or if it was during our workup. And
it was Afghanistan.
And so I don't know if we were watching his music video, and so it says Chris LeDoux, LEDUX, and so he read it, and he's like, oh, these guys listen to him, so maybe I should. And so he's emails with Christina. I don't know if you're talking to her. He's like, so there's this cool country star, Chris LeDux. Ever heard of him? Trying to be Mr. Hip. And she's like, You mean Chris Ledoux? You're about 30 years late, hon.
Hey, easy talking about her. She's my Copenhagen angel.
Well, we did have a dance party in our Afghan can a few times.
Oh yeah, man. We were the fun platoon, and everybody else just took it way too serious. There was definitely a lot of good guys on the other platoons.
Oh yeah,
but there was also guys that just like made it way too stressful.
Let's put it this way: there was a wait list where if someone was happening to someone on our platoon, there's a wait list of guys that wanted to come to our platoon.
Yeah.
But yeah, we definitely made it.
We were better in the shooting package. Like we were better at everything. Reporting.
We were better at being better.
Yeah.
You know?
But yeah, Bravo 3. You know what? Like,
what was that?
Remember when they took our call sign away?
Yeah.
That was so upsetting.
It was funny because like everyone, they didn't hate us, but like even in the most miserable situations, we had the most fun. Like we were kind of like the outcast platoon, like with our command. They didn't like us, but we were the best performing, so they hated to like us, because like we were sarcastic about everything, and we just made fun and jokes of everything, and even like everyone's just miserable, and we were having the best time, and they hated that we could make fun out of everything, And like I said in that Polaris video, like the worst times that we had were the best times that we had, just because the like-minded guys that we were with, and you get that together, you just feed off each other, and you can turn the worst situations into the best.
Dude, yeah, like when you guys hit that IED, and we're just like joking and having a good time, making fun of that ANA dude that just ran off and started shooting.
Nazir. He cared about firefights more than some of our guys did,
Yeah.
It's funny, we were just, jumping up on the truck, like, oh, we just survived, yeah, we're awesome, and jumping around, and come find out we were jumping on another IED that didn't explode. Oh, yeah. If that did explode, we would have just been shredded.
EOD definitely had reason to kind of be concerned about how we handled that. And, like, it's funny because, like...
Looking back now, but we should have died.
Looking back, like, that deployment, I would say we did phenomenal for the tools that were given to us and the training, like for IEDs that we had that we were given. We did awesome. And I think that shows like the level of
the character of the guys that we were with too,
and how good we were at our job. Because there was definitely like my latter deployments, I was like, we were learning stuff in our workups that like came out later. I was like, oh my God. Like, how did we all not get blown up? And it was just because we were very, very good at patrolling.
Absolutely. And like I said, it's like, when we did our first insert into truck now, the very first time, Gaskin, he was my point man at that time. Gates was a 240 gunner. And we did our first patrol. And, at that point, didn't throw a workup because Gaskin came on to our team really late in the game, so we knew all our guys, through everything we've been together. And so I put him as a point man. And then after the first one, you get a feel for your guys. And it's like, you know what? Gates makes a better point man. Gaskin makes a better 240 gunner. And they both did phenomenal at their jobs. And I think that is what Gates as a point man is what succeeded every single patrol that we did, or what made every single patrol we did succeed. Just because he had that mindset, and Gaskin had the great mindset as the 240 gunner, when they were up on the roof with Jake and the siege. For those of you that don't know about the siege, you'll never know because you weren't there.
Yeah.
That's what we'll leave it at that. Just the guys that we were with and being able to put the right person in the right place,
Dude, David cracks me up, man. He's such an interesting guy. I need to have him on the podcast.
I haven't talked to him in it's been years.
I'm gonna buy him, David. If you're listening to this, I'm gonna buy you a George Washington outfit.
I chopped down the cherry tree.
I will not go inside. Man. But
he left that night. He drove home, and we wake up in the morning. And the couch is wet where he was sleeping. And Rabbit texts him, did you pee on my couch? He just texts back, no impact, no idea. He's like, I woke up with a George Washington waiting on my front seat and a bag of Burger King.
Yeah. And in my drunk mind, I thought like I was somehow doing everybody a favor by like making sure, because I knew he was trying to pee in the house, and I like was trying to bring him outside, and then they asked me to come inside, and I thought it was just like the worst.
You would have thought that Christina was starting the second Holocaust by the way how offended you were, because you were outside, you had the door open, you were yelling. It's 2 a.m. She's like, Danny, just come inside. Here, the bugs are coming in because the door is wide open. And the second she said, Danny, just come inside. When she told you to come inside, I'm speechless at the expression on your face. Like, it was the biggest insult, and you just started, no one tells me to come inside. I can't believe you just did that. And that was a good half hour just spiel. And ever since then, never tell Danny to go inside.
Yeah, you do not tell me to go inside.
And the next thing you know, like an hour later, after it all comes down, we're still all inside just doing whatever.
Yeah.
And you're out sitting on the porch like, Danny, you come in? It's like, no one tells me to go inside. Like, all right.
Oh,
you probably
man.
slept out there. I don't know.
Alcohol is a hell of a drug. What can I say? I love the outdoors. You know, I'm the nature boy. I'm a nature man. But that brings me back to getting back out in nature at Camp Razor East. Come full circle here.
That was again like a very much needed trip. Very much needed trip, and yeah, the hospitality that the people, displayed towards us was incredible, and yeah, just the whole trip was fun.
Dude, I mean, even
Again, it was much needed, because if that didn't happen, we wouldn't be here. I don't think, because who knows when the next time we would have visited each other, because we both got busy lives.
Life gets in the way, and then we wouldn't be doing what we're doing.
No,
I wouldn't be building my Jeep for a racing team right now.
We wouldn't be in an undisclosed location at the compound right now.
Yeah. So, I guess I'll just say for those listening that like what brings me up here is we're finishing to build my 2001 Jeep Wrangler TJ and enter it into the stock class for Ultra 4 racing, which is a new emerging racing circuit. And their big race is the King of the Hammers. It's quickly becoming like the most famous, sought after race in the North, like basically in the Americas. Mm-hmm. And then, and so we're entering my Jeep into the stock class. And the whole idea is I'm getting my Jeep ready to where it's capable of doing it. And Zach and I will be co-driving. And then, as we build the team, I want to start bringing in other wounded veterans, and basically get them behind the wheel.
Build more Jeeps and being able to provide a couple of vehicles to, kind of, I don't want to say piggyback off, but what Rob's doing for Warfighter Made. If I can do 2% of what he does for the veteran community and off-road community, and so if we can, help in, collaboration and do everything we can to, help the cause as much as he has,
Yeah. So I think that's important is supporting, like continuing to support Warfighter Made.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. And, from what I've experienced with nonprofits is it's really hard to find a good one. And Warfighter Made is a good one. There's like over 8,000, Oh
yeah, Warfighter Made's. I've in my little experience with all the nonprofits, I'd say it's the best one I've come across. Rob, the CEO, president, he is completely volunteer. He doesn't take a salary from it.
Yeah.
He's a retired recon Marine. He doesn't get paid for it. They're based off,
he's a legend.
Donations and
very humble
sponsors,
guy.
endorsements. Yeah, he's a legend in the reconnaissance community. Great operator, great guy, and then gets out and wants to. He'll be the first one to tell you his story and why he sees it as not just a job, but not only a passion, but his mission in life to help other transitioning warfighters.
And was that a coyote?
Could have been. Might have been one of those deer.
But
you're trying to breach the compound. Not gonna happen.
Yeah, it's not gonna happen. They got another thing coming. Yeah. So what we're trying to do is show, continue to support Warfighter Made and not try and replicate what they're doing.
No, it can't be replicated.
By starting another nonprofit.
Oh, no.
You know what I mean? Like, we're not here like, hey, we're Warfighter built, you know?
No, but
So
he sends veterans on therapeutic trips, and so we can say you can send this many people because of what your assets or your funds that you have now. But you know what, we've got a co-pilot seat in this Jeep in this race.
Yeah.
Can you find someone that can come out here and do it?
Exactly, and using our racing team to help.
We can use that as a platform to
shine light and steer people towards Warfighter Made.
And mind you, we're still in the infancy of what we're doing right now, and it's becoming, like I said, without this. Like I said, I just moved to this undisclosed location last month. My wife and I, we just had a kid, our first baby girl, baby Abigail, who is, I'm not even gonna say arguably, who is the cutest baby in the world. Yeah. Non-biased opinion, of course.
She loves me.
She does. She's got a crush on Danny. She was flirting with him earlier. And so so we just had a baby, bought a house, and I was like, well, what? Might as well just do everything at once. Have a baby, move, get everything going here. And so we just moved, and Danny showed up on Friday morning after a long driving stint, and I still had boxes packed in my garage. I was like, all right, well, now that you're here, let's get this thing cleared out. And we've done a pretty good job so far of making it look like
for those of you that are watching this stuff right here. Zach, where Zach just pointed was over here. And we got things straightened up. We're ready to finish up this Jeep project.
Oh, yeah.
Which I think I settled on a name of, we're calling the Jeep Raider 1.
I like it.
And
fitting.
And the reason is we gave it a number is I plan on having more. We need to get as many veterans plugged into this off-road community as possible.
Like I said, this is the beginning. This year we're doing our, putting out our feelers and getting the feel for it, working out all the bugs, and it'll only grow and expand, hopefully exponentially from here.
These awesome, another big supporter of Warfighter Made, and guy we got to hang out with is the PRP seats, which we're sitting in right now during this podcast. And I got to say, I feel like I'm sitting in a recliner.
I've never been more comfortable in my life.
A stiff recliner, but but that's what you need in off-road racing. Yeah. But these are comfortable.
Yeah.
Like, how are we not going to fall asleep at the wheel while we're doing the Ultra 4, just bouncing around? And like,
did we just hit a 4-foot bump?
Yeah.
I can't even tell.
Guys, you're going off the track. What?
Now, Aaron at PRP is hands down been a great supporter of not only Warfighter Made, but again, the veteran community. And
he even has it on their website where you can select to donate money to Warfighter Made.
Yeah, absolutely.
I just found a way to put a link in these podcasts. If you're watching, there should be a thing that pops up for Warfighter Made. If you like what you hear, go to their website and donate. But
and while we're doing our plugs, I'd also like to big time, which actually is probably one of the biggest things that brought me and Danny in the off-road community, is Norm Francis from Retro Racing. I raced the Mint 400 in an old 1970s Chenoweth, a Funko single seat that Norm restored. He's got, I think, 4 or 5 now. Yeah. Norm is the sole reason for starting the vintage class for the Mint 400 and that whole series.
And I got to be a part of that.
Danny
I was in the pit crew.
He was. And so it was actually a week before my wedding. My wife was not happy about me doing that, but 2 weeks before, so I had a little bit of buffer to him. But
well, you weren't married at the time.
I wasn't, exactly. It's okay. So
she wasn't your wife yet.
And so Norm asked me to help or to race the buggy for him. Who Norm is also a legend in the off-road community. Yeah. And so he's the reason for the vintage class that's been started. And now they do the NOR races, they do the Mint races, they do the Vegas to Reno, the Parker 400 in Arizona. Yeah. And he's a great guy. I said I was going to call him today, but we didn't. We should call him tomorrow.
Yeah. I can I have the capability of having call-ins on. We could make a phone call if we did one of these during the day.
Oh,
like,
yeah. We should call Norm tomorrow.
We're going to be doing this during this whole build. Like this time we're together, I'm going to try and capitalize and get as many podcasts with Zach as possible. But we can get some phone calls in.
Oh, yeah.
I'll just hook it up to the phone and we'll be able to hear it, and it goes right into the recorded feed.
Nice.
But yeah, Norm's an awesome dude. And those are some rad rigs, dude.
Oh, yeah. He does a great job. And he restores them to era specific. You know, so if whatever it was in 1971 is what it is. You know,
why don't you talk about the van he's got?
Oh, he's got an awesome van. He's got it's an old Ford van, but it's his tow rig, and he's sponsored by Method. He's got nice Method wheels on it. He's got PRP seats, front seats, and he's got the PRP bench seats in the back, and it's his tow rig, and it's a really, it's a perfect Norm van.
Yeah, and he's based out of California, right?
Yeah, he lives in Marietta.
He's actually right down the street from Warfighter Made, isn't he?
He lives maybe 5 minutes from Warfighter Made.
Yeah.
And so when we were at the Mint, Danny was me and my crew chief, and we were going through a contingency, pushing the buggy through for inspection. That's when we went over and met Rob at Warfighter Made. Mm-hmm. And then he gave that presentation that night during the racers meeting. Yeah. And then we went over and talked to him. And, it just all kind of spawned and stemmed from there. Next thing you know, we're getting pulled over by the cops for driving razors too fast in New Hampshire.
I caught the bug for racing at the Mint 400. Just being a spectator and I
told you, I tell you before we went out there, I said, just so you know, you're going to get hooked the second that trophy truck just flies by you. Yeah. Did I not warn you? I told you you're going to get hooked. And what happened?
You're looking at
you got hooked.
If you've ever seen ruts like in the dirt from somebody rolling through there, I mean, these ruts are like 2 feet deep.
Oh, at least. You got 6 foot whoops that they're just 100 miles an hour.
And you watch these trucks drive by, and they're just like, they're like streamlined, and the truck is not moving. It's just this level.
The tires are just doing this.
And then you just see these tires bouncing. They're just like, whoa. And you think they're getting rocked in there, but they look like they're riding in a Cadillac. Yeah. It's just like,
you know what? They're probably riding PRP seats.
Yeah. But I got hooked.
I warned you
just by seeing it, and
Did I
was
not
like,
warn you?
And being a part of the retro racing team and working with Norm, and like how it's just kind of like crazy. We're trying to get everything together and like get through contingency and everything, and then watching the Jeep Speed guys, and I'm like, I have a Jeep, like my brother has a Jeep Cherokee, like we need to get this going. Yeah, I was like, this is where it's at, because I've been off-roading all over the place, like growing up in Arkansas, off-roading, getting stuck, mudding all the time. And then when I bought my Jeep, so let me tell you a little story about what we're building here. So I have a 2001 Jeep Wrangler. It's the 60-year anniversary edition, and they call them the Silver Bullet because they came with silver fenders and the silver wheels, like fancy silver wheels, instead of the black fenders that are normally on the silver Wranglers. So it's the Silver Bullet. But now we're changing it to Raider 1 because we chopped off the silver fenders and there's black wheels now. But I bought it from my aunt and uncle in 2006 when I was leaving D.C. and going to Chicago. And I had to get rid of my old 1990 model Suburban, which was awesome. I wish I still had that thing.
You've told me tales of it.
I was broke. I had to get rid of it. But luckily, like, my parents helped me, like, you know, they co-signed a loan. I had to pay for all the payments, you know, and everything, but was able to get the Jeep. And I kept it stock for a really long time and ended up going off-roading in Colorado. And then I got stationed out in California, and I bought a book called, I actually bought it in Colorado, which is fine, but it's a book called Off-Roading Trails of Southern California. And when everybody else would go, like, hang out with their friends or go party on the weekends or whatever, I would go party in the desert by myself. I would grab, like, a case of Sparks beer and just go, and I would start highlighting these trails off the list. And it was just with a stock Jeep.
That was before you met us, and we introduced you to the real desert life.
Yeah, yeah. But I had gone out to Ocotillo Wells before. I'd been like all like north and south of there, down near the border, And I took my...
But had you ever met the Iron Door?
No, I hadn't.
We'll get to that in a minute.
Yeah. But I took that stock Jeep.
Everywhere.
Stock Jeeps are super capable.
Oh, sure.
And it just had, all I had was the BF Goodrich all-terrain tires. That was like the only, plus that I had, as opposed to just, going off-roading street tires, And I never got stuck, never got abandoned. I went through like, sand washes and everything where there's a couple of sketchy times and but I think that's where I really learned how to, I was really pushing the edge and having to use a stock Jeep that had open diffs and
Oh, sure. You have to actually learn how to drive.
You have to know you're not getting any assistance. You're dealing with what you got, and you really have to learn how to pick your line, which I think is really an important thing when it comes to off-road.
Yeah.
And so, in learning how to get unstuck, if you're temporarily, in a stuck situation, and when you're by yourself, so I got really good at recovery too, and little tricks of the trade. But so then I always knew, after I took it all those years, and then it turned into a daily driver for Christina and me once I got the truck. But I had this long plan. It was okay, I need a diesel to pull the Jeep one day when I turn it into a monster, right? Because I have this belief that the reason you see all these mall crawlers, all these JKs, right, that people dump all this money into,
never gets a speck of dust on it.
They never take it off-roading, but they spend all the time on-road, which when you lift a vehicle and put huge tires on it and probably don't change the axles or anything else, or gears, it tears it up on road. That's not what that's not what you're making it for, And so what you end up is abusing all that equipment you put on there, and
for no cause,
for no reason,
to look cool on the streets.
Yeah. So I knew when I wanted to turn the Jeep into a monster, that it was going to be a dedicated, I'm going to trailer it to, because I want everything to be in the best shape so I get the best off-roading experience, right?
Sure.
And be able to take it to the next level, which ended up being racing after the Mint 400. So, yeah, that just, I bought the truck years before I did anything aftermarket to the Jeep, because I knew I wanted a rig to tow the Jeep.
Oh, yeah.
And so this is a long-term plan. And so I got the truck, and then eventually got to a point where Christine was able to get a car, and then it's okay, I got the Jeep back, and it's not a daily driver, and I can do it, whatever. I can turn it into a monster. And I had been out to the Mint, and I'm like, okay, we're turning this into a race rig. And now that I've taken it out, it's I forgot what I was going to say about that, but yeah, it's pretty amazing. And I'm ready to just tear it up and let other guys get in it and send it. Don't feel like you have to get reserved. We're here to win races, and show that, we can be the best ones at finding IEDs, and we can be the best one at winning races.
Best ones at finding first place.
At the best race, the Ultra 4 King of Hammers. We're coming for you guys.
We'll be there eventually.
Yeah. But let's talk a little bit about the off-road community. Talk about Camp Razor and just meeting the people that were there, Polaris and all those guys in the Fox Proving Grounds.
No, really, from the day we stepped foot there, they literally rolled out the red carpet for us. Because when I was talking to Rob, when we get there, meet up with Danielle, with Polaris, this and that. And so we got, the hotel, and just the hospitality displayed by them was, second to none.
Yeah.
And, we show up and we get there, and, we're trying to help out, set up, and, what can we do to help? What can we do to help? Don't worry about it. Here's the keys to your guys' Razor 1000. Go romp on the hills. I said, well, okay. And, just the food, the hospitality,
brand new.
everything.
brand new
Not even
Razor
not even on the market yet.
Yeah, those weren't even. Yeah, they weren't even for sale yet.
Nope. And I can tell you, they will survive the Fox Proving Ground.
Oh yeah.
But Danny's pride did not survive the Fox Proving Ground.
Okay. Zach did beat me. Let's just talk about facts. Okay. On the time trial, we went back and watched the video from start to the finish line. Zach won. I went first.
He did go first.
So Zach had eyes on the route. I was fresh eyes, like going in.
He went in cold. He went in
cold. But I would say that. And then after reviewing the footage,
we assessed it. We both had our strong points and weak points.
Yes, mine was corners. Yours was straightaways. Getting after it.
It's a fair statement. Combine the two,
but Zach won.
In the world.
But Zach won, yeah.
At
the
end of the day,
and now we're going to be on the same team.
Look at the time clock. That's all you got to look at the end of the day.
But guess what, everybody? We're on the same team now, and we're coming for you.
Coming for everyone.
We're coming for everyone. Sorry, that was really loud. Yeah, but like, I mean, I guess it even started with Rob. Like the way he just like. You guys came together and built that awesome rig, that buggy, that retro racing buggy.
I mean Norm.
Did I say Norm?
You said Rob.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, Norm.
I know what you meant. Just clarifying for the viewers.
And being out of the Met and meeting people in the off-road community,
just the atmosphere.
Yeah.
You know.
And then seeing
it's intoxicating.
It is, and. There's a lot of patriots in the off-road community.
Oh yes,
that
didn't
serve in the military, but they're super supportive of military veterans, and it's like-minded people, you know. One of the reasons
just sharing a common passion.
One of the reasons I wanted to go like recon or special operations was like even when I was in high school, I wanted to be able to off-road because in special operations you have the best like off-road vehicles and the military has to offer, right? I wanted to like jump out of planes and like shoot guns, right?
Gotta do all three, didn't you?
But it's interesting how a passion of that like mine was able to like be in the military, and then afterwards when you're transitioning out and you're trying to figure out like what the hell am I going to do with my life now?
It bleeds over into it. Huh?
Yeah. And it just being able to find that passion and like being connected with starting to get into the off-road again, and like how good it feels to be in a garage like this and just working on something.
It takes your mind off the outside stresses of life. You know?
Yeah. I've started to realize it's what made deployment so easy. Like a lot of people are like, oh, they're the worst or whatever, blah blah blah. And you made a good point. What did you say? It's like it's the mind you have, or the.
Well, now I'll have to rewind and go back, but
yeah,
it's like when you can surround yourself with like-minded people, you can turn the worst times into the best times.
Mm-hmm.
You know, there's a reason I did 5 deployments pretty much back to back, and you know, when I got out, the wars were dying down, and I didn't really want to stay in if I wasn't going to deploy, because that's where, you know, you see the worst of guys, you see the best of guys, and guys see the best and the worst of you. Yeah. And it's all, it's all common ground at that point.
What I started to realize recently is everything was very simple. And by that, I mean, this is what we were training to do. We trained hard and we put everything into it. Okay. And so when we were in that, it made sense. You have this input, this output, right? Like I get shot at, we shot back and win. Yeah. Because we've trained to win, right?
When you come across something that you weren't trained to do, that's where your character and just your mental fortitude comes into play, and that's where you really shine, is when you can produce something that you haven't trained or prepared for, and that's where real character comes into play, and that's where you see who is actually bred for this type of life.
Yeah.
And that's where you see people that were not bred for that type of life.
And going at it pretty hard and getting 3 deployments that were combat intensive and then coming back and, all of a sudden next thing you know, I'm in transition mode and I'm going into the civilian world. And so I get spit out of this thing where I know my job. I know what I need to do. I'm super good at it, right? I'm super good at war.
That was my biggest, one of my, hard times. Getting out. I was in the same situation as you. When you get out and you come back to that deployment, like you're on top of the world. You really are. Like as a team leader, you just you're the reason that every single person survived in your team. You guys come back from a crazy deployment. And you come back, you're on top of the world. You are like the light in some of these guys' eyes. And then you get thrown into this, civilian world, in our teams, in our special operations, community, the recon community, the sniper community, you're surrounded by a very high caliber group of guys, guys that have actually worked for what they have and they know what they want and they put every effort into everything they do. Then you get put into the civilian world and then you get surrounded by these, I'm going to be very nice at what I say here, but not the same like-minded people, and that's probably one of the hardest transitioning is being able to tolerate and be rational with that and to not be offended by it.
It's hard, and I think that's where a lot of guys go internal and they isolate themselves and they just want to like, hey, everybody I run into, I have nothing to identify with them. I went from being on a team where we can all identify on like the same stuff. We're all at this like high level and you're just all doing the same stuff, but not even like in special units, like even in regular units, all right?
Absolutely.
You're all on the same page. You're all into the same thing. You're all there in it together. Mm-hmm. And then you get out and then you're running into people, whether it be
don't want to work for
whether it be at the grocery store, at the job you take or whatever, like they're just not on the same wavelength as you. And then
it's almost hard to comprehend.
Yeah. And what I've found is like the things that were helping me was going back to simplicity of simple input, output, of working on my Jeep in a garage. Like something about that was so therapeutic. This is something that I have complete control over, right? I either break this and then I can like find out how to fix it and you can fix it. You can basically fix everything.
Sure.
On a vehicle. You can completely replace it with something new and completely rebuild a vehicle. And there's really nothing that you can do that can't be like undone somehow. If you completely wreck the body on the Jeep, you could go take all the parts off of your body and go buy a different body and then replace it.
Just take it off, make a full roll cage. You don't have to worry about denting the body again.
But something about that, like back to, I know what I'm dealing with here and doing something manual with my hands and just like pouring everything into it. It felt so good. That and getting out in nature, right?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Something about the healing power of nature, getting outside of the city and just getting out in the woods and, going on hunts and all that stuff. It's a big part of just, I think, helping with my transition back into society. And so that was kind of on the base level of my internal healing. Just like me kind of figuring out, hey, you still have what it takes. Like, even though you went from this job of being super good at war and, being combat medic and all stuff, you can heal yourself by doing this simple task.
Sure. That's what others need to figure out is, it may not be the same for others, but they need to figure out what's therapeutic to them that can help them readjust and transition and not just shut down and realize that there is life outside in the civilian world away from where you were. It's just it's a different era in life. There's a lot I miss about it. There's a lot I don't miss about it.
Yeah.
But it's just a different lifestyle, and life happens, and life changes, and you control your own destiny. You really do.
Yeah, you do. Like my quote I came up with: "Every man makes his own way in this life," and it goes for women too. But I've mostly
should be
been
genetically correct here. Right?
Yeah, I know. But when I came up with the quote, I was in a team of all men. So it's but it goes for women too. every woman makes their own way in this life. Like everybody's
Just don't assume their gender. Okay.
Yeah, you have a choice, and I challenge people to, figure out what works for you when it comes to recovery stuff. Like for me, it was the gym. Working out with Extreme Iron Pro Gym, which is our latest sponsor, and I can't wait to announce that and get some stuff out about that in the Iron Military program they're running, which is awesome. But it's been getting back in shape, not listening to the doctors saying you can't do this, you can't do that. Like you have a brain injury, you're gonna have a migraine, it's gonna be worse. Like when you lift, blah 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 blah. Like you know what? Fuck the doctors.
I know what works for me.
Yeah. Fuck the doctors, because guess what? Doctors, I was a medic. You know what we tell the Marines? Hey, don't do this. It'll fuck you up. But guess what? That's not fun. And guess what? Not having fun is detrimental to your life. It's stressful. Like, if you don't have an outlet, you're building up stress, right? And that's detrimental to your health. So the fact that I would have migraines, that working out could maybe trigger a migraine, right? Well, I'm going to have migraines anyways. So
might as well enjoy doing what you're doing.
Am I going to be out of shape and depressed because I'm out of shape and have migraines anyways? Or am I just going to say fuck it and work out through a migraine and be in shape and be able to pour all that stress of dealing with regular people, right? You're running into people and it's so frustrating. You're like, why aren't you like all these awesome guys I've been working with, Yeah. And being able to pour all that frustration and stuff into something. And I found that it was the gym, it was working in the garage, and it was getting plugged into nature, which the awesome thing about off-roading is you're doing both. You're kind of in that like mechanical phase, but also you're surrounded by nature, which is awesome. Awesome two combinations. But
no, yeah, I couldn't think of it. The day I got out, me and Travis, we went out talking to TOLs. The day I got my DD-214, I said, "This is my first day as a civilian, and this is how I want to live the rest of my life." And we went to the desert probably every week for a couple months straight. And of course, you can't maintain that if you want to live a productive lifestyle, unless you win the Powerball, which I'm still working on.
Yeah,
but yeah, it's just, again, you have to find out what works for you and what's therapeutic to you. And, I know you didn't. I can honestly say I didn't have a easy transition, although I tried to make it look like I was handling it easy to, friends and family. And, you can only fool so many people. And a couple of close people expressed their concerns, and more people said they were surprised at how well I was taking it, and you can, fake it till you make it, as they say. But yeah, I didn't. There's, as we discussed, some hard times I were going with, and yeah, I just find it hard after you've seen guys give their best that are no longer here, and you see in the civilian sector guys that don't even want to lift their thumb for a paycheck.
Yeah.
But, you can't fault them for their mindset. It's the way they're raised. It's the way they want to think. That's what's great about this country. You can do and think what you want. As frustrating as it is, it's just, you don't want to be that way.
Yeah. The caveat I would say to every man makes his way in this life is that, yes, when it comes down to it, you have a choice and everything. But it is also nice to surround each other and support each other,
I think it's vital for, success in that sort of, relationship, to feed off each other, to influence each other, to push each other, and to tell each other when, that's dumb, that's stupid. You need to be hard on each other, but also be supportive of each other.
Yeah.
Whether it's between 2 people or between 30 people.
Yeah. And I found that after I kind of worked on my own shit, like by starting to figure out what was therapeutic for me, like I think that's a good first step for anybody that's looking to, like, if they're in a bad spot, right? figure out
Find out what works for you.
Where's your therapy at? What's going to make you better your situation? It's kind of like and as we learned in recon, when you're on patrol or whatever, you're always looking for that better spot to be in, right? You're never just like, okay, I'm here, like whatever, like if we get shot at, like you're always looking for an advantage. Like, okay, is this spot good? Maybe I should move a little bit over here behind this, mud wall or whatever, and I'll be in a better spot. And I think that's what it comes down to with therapy. It's like, find out what works for you. Then,
and never settle for something that won't work for you.
Yeah, and simultaneously or afterwards, I'm really just all about what worked for me is getting plugged in to civilian communities that are like-minded. And that's, I guess, the kind of the next step I went through is finding that the off-road community. So when you're walking through normal society, you're surrounded by the SJWs, social justice warriors, the Antifa people. You're seeing all these weak-minded people who don't give a fuck about people or anything else. And it's frustrating. And it can be depressing. You're like, am I going to have to live the rest of my life around all these little assholes?
And if you get down to it, like honestly, I don't waste my time looking too far into what they do. And I don't even think they know what they're saying up for. They just want to feel like they're on top, just getting a spotlight for making a difference or something. Like, if you break it down and see what they're actually marching for or saying up for, it's frustrating, mind-boggling. There's a million words you could say, but they're just idiots if you break it down,
But there's so many people on this earth, and when you're just out in public, you're surrounded by, people that aren't on the same wavelength on you. Let's just say, they could be way smarter than you. They could be idiots, like whatever. Yeah. There's just people that aren't on the same wavelength on you. And that's generally who you're surrounded by, unless you seek out communities, right? Like you finding your job, right?
But there's a lot of people that aren't proactive enough to seek it out, and so they'll just jump on the next thing. Oh, this guy's waving a flag for something. No, okay, maybe I'll just do that. He's getting attention. Okay, I'll get attention too and do this,
Yeah.
If you ask that person, so what do you want to do with your life, or what are you doing to be a productive member to society, or this and that? Will they have an answer for you? What are you doing to better yourself? I work a full-time job. I work probably 60 plus hours a week, all self-induced. I still take extra classes to better, not only better my knowledge for my job, but for myself, for my family. Life should be in a constant phase of learning, whether it's formal or informal. I get home every night and I'll walk around, take an hour-long walk down to the creek with the dogs. It's just, you should always be doing something to better yourself. That betters me every day because it helps you relax. It helps you kind of wind down from the day. And you know what? You go out and almost get T-boned by a deer like the other day I almost did, But I don't know how you got sidetracked there. But yeah, there's so many people that are just not progressing themselves. And you should be in a constant state of progression.
Yeah.
I firmly believe that. And that's how you get innovators. But then again, the people that don't do that, that's how you get the dwellers.
And I would say for guys that were in the military specifically, like for the veteran that's having trouble, like in his situation, he's feeling like I'm stuck. I'm stuck in my house. I can't go out. Like I can't be around people. Look into a gym. And that's why I'm a big supporter of this Iron Military program. Is you were in shape in the military, right? Through PT programs, it's something about plugging back into that mindset that helps. And it doesn't even have to be a gym. It's just just start focusing on your fitness in any way, like that means something to you, But the cool thing about it that I found from a gym is you start finding a like-minded community. A lot of people that are a gym, whether they're super, obese and out of shape or super in shape, everybody's there to better themselves. Nobody's at the gym to be like,
when you break it down, they're all there for the same cause.
Unless somebody's in there just like to go, use the Coke machine and like sit on a couch and literally do nothing.
Well, there should
like
be
maybe
a Coke
they're
machine at a gym, first of all.
maybe they're at least thinking about bettering themselves, you know. And so I've really benefited from that. And I know that's not for everybody, but then that leads me into beyond that is finding like-minded communities, the hunting community, the ranching community. Those really click with me. And I've built some awesome relationships with people that aren't in the military or veterans. They're just normal civilians who, guess what, happen to be super patriotic and like-minded. We have the same values. We have the same characters, drive, ideas about life. We're able to have conversations, build relationships with each other, and then all of a sudden it's easier to deal with the people you run into that you're not on the same wavelength with, because guess what? It's okay. I don't have to think every civilian's an asshole now. Because I know some super rad, civilians.
Sure.
But, yeah. I'm ready for some more whiskey. You want to beer me some whiskey? And beer you this glass?
It's not bad stuff, is it?
What's that?
That's not bad stuff, is it?
Yeah, this whiskey is actually pretty good. It reminds me of a rye. Is that a rye whiskey?
It's a bourbon.
Bourbon. Is it rye bourbon? Mm-hmm.
By the way, in our non-disclosed location, if you ever heard of Buffalo Bill, Wild Bill Cody,
Mm-hmm.
he's from this area. That's why it's called Cody Road Bourbon.
Oh.
Fun fact for the day.
Mm-hmm. So Zach has a pretty cool last name. I know I've done a podcast before about my heritage, but Zach's last name is Zobrist.
By the way, real quick, what you're drinking, all of the grains in it are all harvested from crops within a 25-mile radius. So it's a true local bourbon.
Yeah, I was wondering what that shit taste was. Oh, I mean, No, this is actually really good.
Actually,
I like bourbons.
You can actually tour the distillery with free tasting and stuff.
Oh, we should. Maybe
Their vodka is actually really good too.
But we'd have to drive like an undisclosed amount of miles to get there.
Yeah, we might.
It could be long. It could be short. You'll never know.
Could be
because
in between.
this is basically the Area 51 of off-roading.
We could take a boat, a plane, or a bike, or a car, or maybe all four of those just to get there.
Yeah, we could take a fan boat.
Or it could be in the next room over.
Maybe that's the next thing we should get, the fan boat.
I don't see why not.
Those things are pretty awesome. Let's talk about your job a little bit.
What were we saying about last names?
Oh, yeah. Let's last name Zobrist. You have a girl. You need to have a boy to carry on the Zobrist name.
I do. Or my girl needs to be a very strong, independent woman and make her husband take the last name. Yeah. But then again, I'm going to be very picky about who she chooses as a husband. And if it's the guy who will allow himself to take the woman's last name, I don't know if that's why I want to marry her. So, I don't know. I mean, I'm just going to have a boy.
Everyone's super progressive now. So I think there are probably a lot of guys who are willing to do that.
It's a lot more socially acceptable now, I think, too. Huh?
But he still needs to be like a man.
Plus, I mean, Zobrist is a cool name. Yeah. You can find your file in the back of a file cabinet real easily. Then you'll say M.
Yeah, Abigail is going to need a very special man. We're going to need... So those of you that are like, in between 1 to 10 years old right now, I guess.
10.
10 years older.
If he's successful.
Yeah, very successful. It's going to take a very special man. So, when
it's going to be a very long,
when you discover
vetting process.
When you discover the Dangerzone podcast, and let's say 20 years,
20, 30 maybe,
you're going to have a lot of catching up to do. But you're probably going to start at the beginning. When you get to episode 5, you're going to come to this, and you're going to realize, okay, Abigail needs a special man. He's going to have to be progressive enough to be like willing to take a woman's name, right?
And she'll be able to shoot better than any of her
Yeah.
boyfriends. So just
But-
mind you that.
He's also got to be man enough to earn the Zobrist name.
That's probably going to be the toughest
So,
part.
I mean, we're talking like a 1 in, I don't know, a billion guy.
$1 billion, that's pretty conservative.
Yeah. So if you're out there and you're listening, Abigail's waiting, and you basically need to bring your A game. Let's just put it that way.
Let's just say an A game may not be good enough.
Because even though Zach and I are not related, Abigail put the spell on me today.
Did she just not melt your heart?
And yeah, and I feel like a protective uncle already. So
Dan imprinted on her.
yeah. But Zobrist, where's the origin?
Swiss and German.
Swiss.
And actually, I don't know if
I
it's
thought German, but
I don't know if it's my grandma's or my grandpa's parents actually came over here through Ellis Island from Germany.
okay.
I believe. I should actually get the actual history of it. But it's mostly German with some Swiss.
Awesome.
I believe.
Cool. And then what else? We're going to talk about your job.
Oh, yeah. I've crossed into the dark side of the white-collar occupation. I mean, I've got a really good job. I work at a leading robotics integration company. I'm an engineer for them. I design, I concept, and
As soon as you said white collar, all I can hear is like, shot through the heart.
you're to blame.
Somehow I was combining that song, though, which this could actually be a really good song. Is
Does that song have anything to do with a white-collar
shot through
job?
the heart.
Real quick, that's funny. I told
Yeah.
I forgot who I was telling, but when maybe we were in Afghanistan, or maybe I told my sister before we left. I was like, you know what? If I get shot in the chest out there and I don't make it home, when the color guard shows up on my dad's doorstep with a flag, I want them to break out and say, "We're sorry, sir, but your son's been shot through the heart. The Taliban's to blame. They give war a bad name." My sister's like, "Zach, that is not funny." I was like, "Oh, man, you know what? My dad better laugh at that."
Yeah.
She did not think it was. I think it was my sister. I forgot how I was telling, but I was like, would that not be the best way to get the news, you know?
Dude, I had a lot of time to plan out my funeral. So the first 2 years.
Well, you did funerals for a while,
Yeah,
so
the first
you knew what was good and what wasn't.
First 2 years I was in the military, in the Navy. I was in the Presidential Honor Guard in D.C., and I ended up being in the casket bearer platoon. And we did funerals in Arlington Cemetery every day, all week.
Do you ever do like multiple a day?
Yeah, we're doing like 5 a day. On like busy days, and then like 2 on like a normal day. And then we'd also cover funerals at like Quantico National Cemetery, Maryland National Cemetery, and then like some of the smaller ones around there. Annapolis, we do all the ones there.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, so during the training, you would learn to stand tight, quote unquote. Like stand tight was like standing in the modified like ceremonial parade rest, which you actually have your hands in front of you as opposed to in back.
Okay.
And there's different positioning, but you would stand there for hours during training. They're like, okay, the next training evolution will be standing tight.
Oh,
And you'd go to ceremonial parade rest, and then they'd walk away, and you would stand there
wow,
for hours because you had to like get your body used to standing in these like, if you think about the famous like Tomb of the Unknown Soldier and like all like the discipline, you'd go to ceremonies where you had to stand for hours, and you see people pass out and this and that.
Oh yeah.
The Navy was we did a really good job of not doing that. I think I saw like 1 or 2 Navy guys pass out the whole time I was there. A lot of Marines would actually.
Yeah.
From 8th and I. Regardless. So as you're standing there staring at the wall for hours, not moving at all. Your brain tends to wander.
So you probably do a lot of thinking, don't you?
And when you're thinking about funerals, you're like, because that's what you're wanting to do and train to be a casket bearer and stuff. Because casket bearer platoon was the best platoon.
Well, of course.
You're doing the most honorable job. You're the one passing off the flags to the widow and everything.
I can see how it can be a hard job, but at the same time, somewhat rewarding.
Very rewarding.
If that's
for young,
I don't want to say a morbid term,
young
but
19, 20-year-old, like it was
it probably gives you a good perspective.
It was a very good experience for me.
Sure.
Life experience. It was able to like come full circle. I was able to bury like our brothers.
Sure.
Then go to be a medic to like save them from that, and then it was like
Some circle of life right there.
Yeah, but yeah. So I planned my funeral, and back then this is what I wanted. It's changed since, but back then I was like, I want the heaviest casket known to man. I want it to be made out of like
Lead.
3/4 inch steel, and have like these cool carvings on it and everything, and like basically like molded metal. I want it so heavy that they have to use a forklift. They can't even like carry it. If they try, they'll like be seriously injured. But it's going to be like on this caisson wagon, pulled by horses, and the wagon's going to have pyrotechnics on it. And as it's rolling up to the gravesite and people are getting out of the cars, getting ready to like watch me be like forklifted over to the hole, the pyrotechnics are going to go off, and it was going to be AC/DC playing over loudspeakers.
Nice.
For those about to rock, we salute you. And it's all about like, hey, I'm dead, but for those of you that are like still alive, rock, man. Like, live your life. This is a party. I'm dead. Like, live your life.
Party off before you're dead now, huh?
But that's an awesome song. Have you seen the live recording of that?
Oh yes,
Yeah.
that is the number one concert that's on my bucket list to go to. There was two of them. One was Garth Brooks. The other was AC/DC. Went to Garth Brooks. Incredible show.
Nice.
Great performer. And AC/DC, I would give a large monetary amount to see AC/DC live.
Yeah.
They're hands down my favorite band.
Not to make you jealous at all, but Christina definitely. She worked this job in Colorado, and it's for like a oil company. And she got hooked up with tickets to AC/DC, and
Really?
was like, they were super nice tickets.
And she didn't take me, huh?
No, didn't take me either. And I
we're
was
gonna have to talk about that,
I was her
Christina.
boyfriend at the time. But
Well, you know what? I was not made aware that the boyfriend was going to become the husband because I didn't get an invitation to the wedding.
yeah.
Still bitter.
Oh man, that was a different me. I was very like
Reserved.
I was very reserved and protective of my home life. It was like work was very separate from.
You were new to the platoon, but
Yeah.
no excuse.
But I mean, I pretty much became best friends with all you guys right away.
Oh, we became best friends with Christina, and by fault became best friends with you. So
Oh, okay. But there was a couple of impactful funerals that like really stood out when you do like
did you
over
ever
1,000 of them.
break down in some of them?
No,
Were you able to hold it together?
I was able to hold it
Somewhere
together.
you wanted to?
Yeah.
Just the reaction of the people there, or what was it?
There was this one, and it wasn't at Arlington. It was at this small. It was at the Maryland National Veteran Cemetery, and sometimes we would just send, like, we wouldn't have the manning to like send a full casket bearer crew, like where you have 6 guys carrying. They actually carry with 8 now because they, this new generation is a bunch of weak bitches.
Sure.
We used to carry with 6, and the Marines carried with 6. We carried with 6. The Air Force carried with 8, and the Army carried with 8, which looks ridiculous.
I'd imagine
to me,
bumping into each other.
yeah,
Huh?
carrying with 6 looks much better. But sometimes we wouldn't have the manning to, like, because we're doing all the funerals in Arlington and everything. So like sometimes we do what's called a 2-rep or a 3-rep. So you'd have one guy that would play a fake bugle, and then where you like press a button and it's got a speaker that like plays taps.
Oh, okay.
Because they don't train us to like play the bugle. You know?
You can't play the bugle right now?
And then the family would use their like designated casket like carriers, and they'd bring it in with a flag, and then we would fold the flag and present it to the widow. So we're basically there to like fold the flag properly.
Doing the formality of it all.
Yeah. So, so I'm on this 3-rep, and sometimes like funerals can be very interesting. They're very dynamic situations. Like you never know what you're gonna get.
A lot of ins, a lot of outs.
Yeah, but so there's usually like a funeral rep, like the guy that works at the cemetery for the funeral home, and if something's like weird or off, like they'll come to you and like tell you ahead of time, like, hey, heads up, like this is going on or whatever. So this is one of those times they came up, and it was old World War II vet, Navy veteran, and he came up to us ahead of time, and he was like, hey, just so you know, like, so the whole funeral procession pulls up. He jumps out and runs over to us and is like, hey, just so you know, the widow has Alzheimer's, and she's like totally out of it. Like, she won't be able to hold the flag when you put it in her lap. So her like granddaughter or whatever is gonna, or daughter is gonna be sitting next to her, and when you put the flag in the lap, she'll hold it, and so it doesn't fall on the ground or anything. And so we're like, okay, like, you know, that makes sense. And so we, you know, the hearse pulls up and everything. They bring the casket in. We do all this stuff, like, you know, movements, and we like follow it in. It's very like, still very like ceremonial. I think they have their guys pull it out and they put it on like a roller, and then we like move the roller in, you know. And so we go into this chapel, and then it comes time for us to fold the flag, right? And I'm at the head position, which is on the star side.
Okay.
And that's the guy that ends up giving the flag away.
Okay.
So we go through the whole flag fold. It's a bunch of like ceremonial movements and everything. And I turn to her and I look, and she's sitting there and she's just shaking, right? She's like moving all over the place. She's got Alzheimer's, and she looks like she's completely out of it. Like, she's looking kind of like down at the ground, and she's got kind of like tremors, you know? And then I get down on my knee, like, to give the bearer speech, which is, on behalf of the President of the United States, a grateful nation, and a proud Navy, I present you this national incident in dedication to your loved one service to the United States Armed Forces. And then you get up and salute. I still have that memorized. But as soon as I got down on my knee to give that speech, she completely stopped shaking. The tremors went away.
Wow.
She stopped looking at the ground. She looked directly in my eyes and was like completely there in that moment. It just gave me goosebumps.
Wow.
Like just like remembering this. And for that moment, that's how much that means to her.
Oh, to her, absolutely.
Like,
wow.
to receive her husband's flag, like, and
the impact that must have had.
And she was completely there. She completely knew what was happening. And I like presented her the flag, and she grabbed it and like held it.
No kidding.
And I got up and saluted her, and as soon as I started to turn away, she went back to like tremors and like completely out of it.
Wow.
And that was tough. That was like,
I can imagine.
It was definitely something that like moved me. It was like,
wow.
There was something, you know, outside of this world that was happening in that moment, you know? And so there was that one. Then there was another one where an active duty Navy guy, 7-year-old kid, died. And
that was got to be hard, I'm sure.
That was in Arlington. and it was a 2 rep, which was odd because normally we did 3 reps, right? We have a bugle player and your 2 guys to fold the flag. And we're like, a 2 rep, like, where's it, like, and it's in Arlington. This is weird. Well, there's no flag because it wasn't a service member. So we do what we call body drops, which is kind of morbid, but
doesn't sound like a good thing for our feet.
But when a spouse of a military member dies, there's no flag fold because they weren't in the service. So you just go and drop the body off at the site. So we just call it a body drop.
Okay.
That was like short term for it.
Not the best term.
No. But it's like literally what you're doing. You're walking out and you're setting the body down and and then you're walking away with no other stuff. So so this is what that ended up being. It was like his kid, he wasn't in the military, so there's no flag fold. Yeah. But having like the family there, and it's like it's very emotional because their kid just died and like the casket was small for like a small 7-year-old, and there's only 2 of us carrying it. It was weird. It was emotional. You knew you were carrying a kid that just died. It was like something about it was just that one was pretty emotional.
Sure. Let me ask you this. Me and Megan were talking. It was a few months ago. She asked me, man, when was the last time you cried? Do you remember? When and what for?
Okay, well.
I mean, aside from Friday when you got out of your truck and you saw me and you gave me a hug. Then, when was the last time you cried?
That did not happen. Let the record show that did not happen.
Okay, that was bawling, not crying. But
and I really don't appreciate you bringing up this topic because it's. I lost my tear ducts in the war, so I can't cry. So thanks for making fun of my disability. There's a lot of times I want to cry, but I just physically can't because I lost my tear ducts in the war.
Yeah. Well, maybe if you had a little more passion, they would have stayed with you.
All those blasts and breathing in that lithium smoke.
I think the lithium just melted them together, huh?
Mm-hmm.
Little puffs of air come out.
It was definitely the burn pits. It was all that poop we threw in the fire. Fecal matter and medical blood waste and everything else.
Lithium batteries.
Yeah. Well, don't have cancer yet, so.
That you know of.
Yeah. No, seriously, I say that quote all the time. Nobody ever knows that I lost my tear ducts in the war. It's actually from an animated movie. It's from Aliens versus Monsters.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Totally. I saw it in theaters. I like animated movies. But there's this general character in it that's like supposed to lead the army against like the, to protect the aliens and the monsters like attacking each other and all this stuff. And there's this like, pseudo emotional funny thing that happens in the movie. And he's like, everybody's crying. And the general's like, I would cry, but I lost my tear ducts in the war. Just in the war, like whatever war that is.
Common injury.
Yeah. I use that quote all the time, and nobody ever knows that I'm actually like, because they knew I was at war, so they just think like, they're like, wait, is he serious? Like, I don't really get this humor.
You never know if you need to be
I don't get this humor,
not,
and it's like, well, kids get this humor because it's totally from an animated movie. And
I haven't seen that movie.
Yeah, it's funny. You should watch it. But I did a pretty good job of avoiding the question there.
Yeah, it's still there.
Last time I cried was, let's see, the other night I watched a movie. It's usually like, I'll watch movies.
Was it The Notebook?
I'll watch movies by myself, and that's like, I think when I let myself get emotional. I watched, what was that? And I'll purposely pick like super emotional movies.
just to let the reservoir drain.
Like John Wick. Which I guess is not really super emotional movie, but his puppy gets killed right in the beginning. It's like that drastic loss, you know. His wife has cancer and dies this like awful death, and yeah, and it's like, and when I'm watching movies, I won't like cry. It'll be like my eyes will get
Teared up.
misty, and it's like I'll have to like force blink, and then like something will come.
No,
out,
I'm talking about when was your last all-out man cry? Like legit passion cry.
Let me think. It's been a while, but it was probably around one of my migraines or something.
Yeah, I could do it.
Yeah, just like fuck, this sucks. And you're just like, you feel like your brain's not working, and you're just like lost in that fuzz, and it's just like you're having trouble thinking, and it's just like,
it's just gonna get better.
Yeah. It kind of reminds me of when my grandmother died, and like she ended up getting like brain aneurysms, and she had a stroke, and she ended up like in and out of the hospital. But towards the end, it was like that feeling of her not being able to like communicate very well, and all that stuff. And I'm like, so when I get a really bad migraine and I'm having trouble like thinking and formulating thoughts, and I'm like, I can't speak to like Christina and like communicate with her, that just like, it tears me up.
Kills you.
Yeah, I'm like, fuck, man. Is this gonna happen? Like, what? Am I dying?
Yeah.
What, you know?
So that's how it ends. All right, I always wondered how it was gonna end.
But it's kind of like a weird cry. I'd imagine it's a very like unattractive, like it's just like not really crying, but crying, just more with your like sounds. You're
making
you're like
obnoxious moaning noises.
Yeah, just more obnoxious moaning
just
noises.
the ugliest face.
Yeah, just like
kind of like a wounded little rodent.
Then actually like just like tearfully, just like crying in silence or something, you know. What about you?
Last time I actually had a good cry, it was, I can't remember the exact day. I'll have to look at the slip, but it was it was early. I think it was like May 3rd. I want to say of 2013.
Oh wow!
Did you ever know Caleb Medley?
Yeah.
It was at his memorial. We flew out there in Colorado for it, and so actually, me and Jake were at our house in Fallbrook, and we were sitting in the hot tub, pretty drunk at that point, as we pretty much were every night at that point in our life. But anyway, so and then I saw. I don't know if it was a text that came across, but there was an accident at Skydive Paris, where there was a fatality at Skydive Paris. Like one of our force teams was jumping that day.
Yeah.
And so I called Matt Mitchell, and I was like, Matt, who was it? I was like, we can't say. I'm like, is it someone we know, Matt? And like, who was it? He's like, dude, it was Caleb. I just like lost. I threw my phone across the deck. I'm like Caleb. He was probably by far one of like the epitome of just a recon Marine. Not only that, just an incredible guy and just persona and character in general.
Wow.
And so I was like, wow. So then I think it was about a week. That was end of February. It was like one of the last couple days of February, I think. And then early May. So they did his funeral in Colorado, and so I was out at this point. And then so they flew the whole force platoon out there, and then I flew out there, me and a couple guys. And during his they did a big paddle party at the VFW there for him, and his mom and his dad were there, and his mom got up, and after we all did our stories and everything, and his mom got up and spoke, and after she I just lost it. I just hugged Jake, and I just like, again, not a attractive cry, but I just straight up lost it.
Yeah.
And then ever since then, I haven't had a good cry since then. I was talking to someone, and who was it? I don't remember who it was. I think it was my buddy in Los Angeles. His name's Nathan. He's very metro.
Mm-hmm.
But he's like, you know what? Every guy's got to have a really good, just balls out cry at least once a year. You know,
Oh,
it's like
really?
it just cleanses you.
Wow. I
was
need
like,
to
well,
get on that.
I know.
Yeah.
Maybe we'll find something to cry about this week. Who knows?
Oh, you know what? That reminds me. Okay. So aside from me just trying to like make myself cry, but like let's say watching
Watching a movie.
John Wick or this or that, or the migraines, which is like not really crying because like something hit me really weird, and I didn't necessarily cry, but it was so emotionally
Just make you-
overwhelming,
Inside kind of cry.
and it was so wild. It was, and it's interesting that we were just talking about the me being a casket bearer and like some of the emotional stuff I deal with that. When I was a casket bearer, none of that stuff, like aside from that like moment I gave that flag to her, like that was like okay,
You just kind of numb
like-
to it, or what?
like I didn't even really come close to crying. It was like it was more just like it's very emotional, and I was like just kind of walked away from it like that was a very powerful experience, you know. And then, but you're just numb to it. You're like when you're doing 5 funerals a day, it's like
Sure, it's kind of
you're used to
becomes the norm.
yeah, and you're trained for it too. I mean,
Sure.
you're training with caskets, so it's like everything's just it's your job, you know, and standing tight for hours where you learn to like they practice trying to make you break. Like
Oh, sure.
they'll come and like you know
lose
do
your
everything
bearing
like
kinda
lick
thing.
your face, yeah, and like make all the funniest jokes you could ever possibly can, and you have to learn to just sit there with like a blank face, you know, and so you're conditioned for it. So, but after doing that, if you think about all the super emotional things
Oh, sure.
that I saw and was a part of during those 2 years that were not emotional to me because I was in that mindset, right? Of
You go back and think about it. Do you get emotional thinking about it?
So, well, I didn't think about it much, right? I was in that entrepreneurship program at UCLA.
Yeah, you were telling me about that.
And we went and toured the Reagan Library in California. And there's a section that goes like you followed through this whole area. It's like a museum, right? It shows like his whole presidency, and you see everything he did and all this. Well, Reagan's funeral was right before I got there, and then Ford's was right after I left. If Ford had died like a month or two sooner, I would have been carrying his casket because I was in the higher ups of the casket bearers. So I just missed being like Ford's casket bearer. But I marched in George Bush's inaugural parades and all that stuff. But the picture, they had the pictures of Reagan's funeral up all over these walls, like huge, right? And videos from him. And I know all those guys.
Oh, okay.
Because they were the guys that trained me to be a casket bearer. And guess what? I've done a bunch of funerals with those guys, like carrying caskets with them. So like all of a sudden it was like this thing that I hadn't thought about for years because I'd done like multiple combat deployments, all this other stuff that was like very present on my mind, you know, as opposed to like the time I was a casket bearer.
You just kind of blocked out the rest.
It was almost like this 2-year period that I'd forgot about.
Yeah.
Until I was like immersed in it. You're like, it's like this immersive experience where you're surrounded by these huge walls of like
emotions.
The caisson, which is the wagon that the caskets are on with the horses. And it's like, I did a bunch of funerals, not for Reagan, but other officers that were carried on the caisson. It's like, so it was just like this flood of, now I'm in a spot where I'm like getting out of the military and like all of a sudden I'm exposed. Like my guard was down to like let all this and I like I almost like completely just broke down. Like I almost like just fell to the ground.
Wow.
Like it was so overwhelming.
It just kind of hit you all at once.
Yeah. And I started to realize like it was like the realization like, yeah, that was like you were part of like a really like not fucked up, but like just
Sure.
a very you're around a lot of emotions that you haven't processed
Just
yet.
kind of buried them for a
Yeah.
while.
And then it just all came up like in the presidential museum
Wow.
in California.
I would ask if you can hold your own for about 30 seconds. I got to use the restroom.
Yeah, no. Oh, go ahead. Yeah, this is the danger zone. It's a super relaxed environment where you can just go take a piss if you need to.
Pretend like Dan's listen. I'm gonna go put on John Wick in his bedroom so it turns on as soon as he goes to bed.
But yeah, so for those of you that don't know, I'm starting a off-road racing business, and I'm partnering with Zach, and we have separate businesses, but we're partnering on the racing team. And my racing team is called Barbaric Off-road Racing for now, and it goes back into the barbaric lifestyle I'm starting to promote, which is being different, not like everybody else, and not in the ISIS barbaric way, but back to what the Greeks and the Romans referred to, which was just barbaric meant other than Roman or other than Greek, and it meant you weren't doing what the major society was doing. And right now, my version of barbaric would be tapping into who you are as a human, plugging into nature, figuring out your place in this world, in this life that you live from A to B. When you're born to when you die, that's what you got. And you don't have to try and be like somebody else. It's all about being who you are and standing out from the crowd, because we're all different. And that's what barbaric means to me. But that's why. So it's Barbaric Off-road Racing, and we're going to be doing things a little different. So look out. We're coming. And like I said, I'll let Zach. I was just explaining to him that we're partnering. My thing is the Barbaric Off-road Racing. We're building a racing team together, but it's a partnership.
Indeed.
Zach is part of sending stuff into outer space.
Oh, we actually started this conversation about an hour and a half ago.
I know,
maybe
but
an hour ago.
we didn't
about
get
the job.
anywhere with it.
You got sidetracked on the white collar comment.
Sorry, I'm just looking at the time. How long we've been going?
How long have we been going?
No, we're at an hour and 42 minutes. So we
When we
got
first started, I was like, all right, let's do about a 10-minute intro, then I got to go to bed.
Oh, yeah. These things
Here we are.
They just roll.
They do
It's
roll.
interesting, but let's wrap up about like 2 hours. So we got like 15 minutes left to finish these drinks, and maybe dive into a little bit of your work without mentioning any names. But
Yeah, no, like I said, I have a great job. I'm a very hands-on person, so my white-collar job isn't my ideal profession, but it's a great job. It's a great company. I work at the company is called Genesis Systems Group. We're like a leading robotics integrator, so any robotic welding, weld cells, and everything they do. I help lead our aerospace group. So we do all the non-destructive inspection. I can't name any names because some are defense-related, government-related, or space-related. But so we do all the inspection and other processes of parts. So pretty much every robotic weld cell that comes through our aerospace division, I help head up. And it's pretty cool to say that I help design robotic systems that actually send, we're working with a couple companies that send, they send vehicles into space, if you will, without naming any names, and also airplanes that you fly in every day. We got a lot of systems with them, so it's a good job. I'm able to challenge myself every day by trying producing new concepts to facilitate these companies that come to us for what they need. I took Dan on a tour of our company today, and he was able to see and get a lot. I'm sorry, I have to be very vague depending on what we do and who we do it with, but I was able to give Dan a pretty good tour.
I'm so impressed. Like, I was blown away today. Like, I knew
we do pretty cool stuff.
I knew you were into some like cool shit, and I was like, I've been bragging on you already, but just from what I'd like formulated in my like little experience of what you do, but
actually able to see it
after
today
seeing it today,
a new realm, isn't it?
It's like I don't have a brain in my head. It just kind of like exploded out of the side of my temple and leaked out onto the floor. Like, my mind is blown. The stuff Zach is into, if you want to talk about a legacy, I'm just going to go super big picture here because, I don't want to, blow your cover and mention names and stuff. But when you want to talk about the new frontier, the final frontier,
we're pushing
of outer space, Zach has his name attached to that process. And you can read between the lines and figure out.
When it comes out, then you'll see probably a couple of years. But
I'll tell you what, Zach is doing some really cool shit. Yeah. And I think he's an interesting dude as is. I mean, just we're almost at 2 hours into this podcast, and I feel like we could do probably like weeks upon weeks of video and audio of us talking together. But just to go from being a recon Marine, civilian to Marines to recon Marine to getting out, working for off-road shop to working for an aerospace company or what, an aeronautics or
an aerospace company there in Orange County.
In Orange County.
When we still live in California. Yeah.
No degree, self-taught. Dude, it's super impressive. And I think it's like a shining example for other people that like, if you put in the hard work and go after something, it doesn't even have to be like your dream job. Like you said, you're working a white collar job, but
like I said, it's a good job. To say it's not my ideal job would be kind of, I don't know the term, because my ideal job would be to be in this shop right here, run my own company, racing your own vehicles. But to have that luxury is a dream. It might be a reality, sooner or later. But regardless, I have a great job with a great company. And it's rewarding. I get a, concept and dream up and design a system, and then months or years later, you get to see that product being launched into outer space. It's pretty rewarding, But the thing is it doesn't matter what you're doing as long as you're pushing yourself.
Yeah.
And making yourself, whether you hate it or whether it's not what you want to do, as long as you're progressing as a human being and as a personal, endeavor, it doesn't matter what you're doing or who you're doing it with. As long as you're, advancing, then your life's advancing. And like I said, I'll work, a 40-hour work week is pretty much non-existent. And like I said, our company is great. They're very, relax. If you get your job done, then good. And the more you do, the more they acknowledge you. And then I'll work 50, 60 hours a week, and on top of that, I'll still take extra classes in schools just because I want to know for the better of my knowledge. So I'll do that, and I'll do a couple hours of classes a night. And we got a new baby and a wife, and there's not enough hours in the day to be able to devote your work life, your personal life, and your there's just not enough hours. But if you can just push yourself, you'd be surprised at what you're able to accomplish and what you're able to, just make happen.
Dude, I'm super impressed with you, and I'm wondering why you're even taking a break from your job to hang out with me, because the stuff you're doing there is so cool. But I feel pretty honored. But yeah, I can't agree with you more. It's just whatever you're doing, just go all out.
Okay, pour yourself
into
what you're doing or you don't, just give it your best. And you know what? In the end, your best turns into you, and you turn into your best.
I'm narrowing down this motivational speech that I'm gonna get on video, and then maybe some people pay me to come give it or something. If they're interested in it. But it's basically, life is like a Bob Ross painting.
Come on.
Have I told you this yet?
No, but I want to hear it.
Oh, I'll give you the gist.
All right.
Okay. Life is like a Bob Ross painting. All right. Have you watched Bob Ross paint?
Many of them. Oh, okay. Absolutely.
So,
Happy Little Tree.
Happy Little Tree. And then you're watching him do this, right? And you watch a blank canvas
turn into a masterpiece.
With but you don't see the masterpiece right away.
Until the end, absolutely.
You're like, what the fuck is he doing?
Exactly.
You're like, what the fuck is that? How am I supposed to replicate that? And you can't see the vision, right? You can't see the end masterpiece until he's like, okay, it's done. And you're like, holy shit, that's awesome, right?
Where did that come
Guess
from?
what? That's what your life is like. Your life is a blank canvas. And then
it may look messy at times, but
you're born into this world, right? Immediately, you are starting to be shaped by your parents, or let's say you're born into the wild and you're Mowgli in Jungle Book and you're raised by wolves. Whatever your situation is, as a child, you are absorbing. You're taking in. You're just you're grabbing everything around you, and so your blank canvas starts taking on paint, right? Mm. And this starts shaping your masterpiece of a life. Okay? At some point, there's a shift where, you become an adult and you can start making these choices for yourself. Even like your teens and stuff, there's choices. You start to become, you start to take your painting, right? Your parents aren't the ones making the painting anymore, right? They can try. They can come by and throw paint on your painting, right? But guess what you can do? You can just put some paint over the shit they threw on there, right? And make it a happy little tree. Mm-hmm. So eventually you need to take your painting completely over and stop letting other people dictate your life. Because guess what? You're given from A to be in this life, and it's up to you to make your life the masterpiece that it's meant to be. And so you need to take control of your painting. You're the one that starts putting a little bit here, a little bit there, and you never make a masterpiece over throwing just one splotch of paint on there. Mm-hmm. So it's all small little moves you do in your life. Stop focusing on, oh man, this is insurmountable goal that I need to do like right now, It's all little steps. Narrow it down to one little thing you can do. Make that happy little tree on your painting, right? Mm-hmm. And it all builds to your life's masterpiece.
Sure.
And let's say some fucked up shit happens in your life, right? Somebody comes by and they rape your painting. They throw their fucking paint on there. And they make a scar in your life, right? And it hurts. You've done all this work to make your painting so awesome, and then somebody comes in and fucks it up with their paint. You know what's awesome about a painting?
Make it into a bigger happy tree.
You can start from scratch, right? You could paint the whole canvas white again, and all that paint is underneath there. So guess what? It's not something you have to ignore. It's still a part of your life, right? It's still something that happened. It's still underneath there.
Sure.
It's still part of your canvas, but it doesn't have to be seen.
Sure.
You don't have to carry it in front of you. you can cover it up and just take it. Okay, this happened. This is a part of my life. But you move on and you paint over it and you start to make it the beautiful thing that it is. And eventually your life ends and the masterpiece is the end of your life. Whether that be you getting hit by a car when you're 25 or, dying of old age when you're 101. Like, the end of your life is the conclusion of your masterpiece. What have you done to construct that masterpiece? And being in control of it. That's sort of the motivational speak. It's basically like, take control of your life.
How much are you charging me for that speech you just gave me then?
Right now I'm playing with around like $50,000 if you want to go use it. But basically because that's what I need to maybe start a trophy truck. But what do you think? That's pretty good, huh?
No, I like it. And everyone starts with a blank canvas and everyone ends with a masterpiece, Yeah. And the content in between is up to you. It could be nothing but a straight line, or it could be just a rainforest of experiences in between there, And every person does decide their own fate. There are maybe contributing factors that happen in between. There may be stuff that's out of your control, but in the end, how you deal with it, how you perceive it, how you act upon it, it's, in the end, everything you do, everything you feel, everything you see, and the outcome of everything is literally up to you.
Yeah. And if it's all about taking ownership of your life.
Sure.
Because if you let other people do it, it's not the masterpiece it was supposed to be.
It's their masterpiece, not yours.
If you spend your life trying to be like somebody else, trying to ignore who you are as a human being that was given the breath of life on this earth, like if you ignore that and let somebody else dictate your life for you, your life isn't going to end up being the masterpiece that it's meant to be in this beautiful process, whatever it is, no matter what you believe.
No, because then you have a replica to somebody else's masterpiece, and it means nothing to you.
You could be an atheist. Like, if you believe there's nothing beyond this life.
Or you can be a nihilist. We believe in nothing.
Nothing about Hey, my buddies didn't die face down in the mud.
They're threatening castration. Are you going to split hairs here, Donnie?
Oh man. We got 3 minutes till we're at 2 hours. I mean, we can go beyond, but
yeah, I plan on going 10 minutes here. We haven't gotten to
we're doing Lebowski quotes right now.
Have it your way, dude. Mm-hmm. So we haven't gotten
the
to
dude, El Dude Reno.
Got into the whole brevity thing.
This is a stick up. Wait, I just went to. Holy shit! I just jumped over to Pulp Fiction.
Yeah, I don't know where you're trying to go with that.
Yeah.
It's late.
Oh man. 2 great movies though.
No, that they are.
One of my favorite parts in The Big Lebowski is when he gets arrested for running down the street tripping on acid or whatever he was drugged with, and like the cop throws the
mug at him
in the face. Stay the fuck out of Long Beach, Lebowski. It's just like, we need more of that. We need more of people getting hit in the face with coffee mugs and being told, stay the fuck away from here. You know? Like, you ever run into those people
that be used on so many levels
that are just
too,
like, hey man, so I'm gonna need you to just like not say that because it's offensive to me, and I'm gonna be on my big horse right now and be virtue signaling because I donate to stuff and blah blah blah. That needs to be interrupted with a coffee mug to the face. Just way out. Maybe like a little bit of coffee in the bottom. It's not scalding hot where it burns him, but it's
warm
like,
enough to
it's
give him
still,
a warning.
Yeah,
you know,
and he's like, oh.
or maybe it's just like the bottom of the coffee cup, but it's
Yeah.
just like coffee grounds, so it just sticks to his face,
Yeah.
and because no one likes the last drink of coffee grounds, so it's just all over him.
We need to make that a T-shirt somehow. Like throw. I don't know what the tagline would be, but basically like hit somebody in the face with coffee.
With your last drink left in it.
Coffee mug to the face. I think that's it. That's it. Yeah. Somebody giving you shit, coffee mug to the face. It doesn't it's not gonna kill them. It's not gonna,
It'll jolt them and maybe make them
Yeah.
think twice about, maybe get another coffee mug to the face.
It may break their nose depending on who they are. I mean, if it's me, my nose has been broken a bunch of times. So,
But, maybe next time it'll make them think, do I really want a coffee mug to the face? Maybe I'll just, try and be productive today.
It's amazing how a little tap on somebody, like maybe a little punch to the face, will help teach somebody when they're doing something super wrong. Hey, last time I did that, I got punched in the face. Maybe I shouldn't do that again.
Yeah.
My father actually taught me this lesson as a kid. He said, son, you never take a man's hat off his head. And I was like, why, Dad? He goes, well, I was at the auction barn. My father got an ag degree, and he grew up on a dairy farm. So he's at the auction barn, and he's there with his buddies, and he thought it'd be funny to take this cowboy's hat off his head, take his cowboy hat, like back when you're young and dumb, and he thought it'd be funny for whatever reason.
Probably not a good idea, huh?
That guy turned around and punched my father in the face and chipped his tooth. Guess what? My father never took another man's hat off his head, and he taught his sons,
never to do that,
son, never take a man's hat off his head. And guess what? I haven't. I learned from my father being punched in the face. It's like that punch in the face jumps generations.
That's
Life
all it takes.
lessons.
Yeah.
That's kind of how I viewed Afghanistan. It's like,
learn from other mistakes, right?
I know you might be upset that your dad just got killed by us, but that's a life lesson. Don't do what he was doing.
Exactly.
Fuck around and find out.
Yeah.
I mean, but I think so many people nowadays are missing out on their punches to the face.
Oh, there's a lot of people that need punches to the face.
And it's not something that's going to end your life. Your life's not over.
But, hopefully it'll just teach you a lesson
take
take responsibility for your own damn
life. Your life will be so much better for it.
Right?
I've been punched in the face. My brother was the first one to break my nose. We were fighting over who got in the shower first.
I bet he got in the shower first, didn't he?
I can't remember who did.
You can't remember because your nose is broken.
I think he actually let me in because he freaked out after my nose exploded and it was like bleeding everywhere. It's like when you get your nose cherry popped. It's just like, it was explosive. It was like ridiculous how much it was bleeding. But ever since then, like every time I've gotten my nose broken after that, I didn't even like hardly notice it. Man, well, we just hit we're just over 2 hours, but
we probably done our welcome here.
Let's wrap it up, and I might have to go. Since I don't have the same weak bladder that you, I can actually last 2 hours.
Yeah, go see a man about a wallaby.
Yeah, but as we're wrapping this up, I just want to end this with some plugs. All right, so let's cover. I want to cover current sponsors for this racing project we're doing, which, to remind you, is getting wounded veterans behind the wheel of an awesome off-road rig, having fun, and in the racing events, you're surrounded by a huge off-road community. It's different than just going off wheeling at your local OHV park. You're surrounded by tons of like-minded people. And this is what we're trying to do for the veterans.
It's just the support factor that you can feel.
Yeah, is get them starting to build relationships outside of their military and veteran friends and family.
And when you get out and feel like you're the only one alone, you're not, because First of all, you're not the only one to go through that process. And second of all, if you look for just the slightest bit, there's thousands of people that can associate and relate and are more than willing to help with you. Like when, we were racing, we pull up to the pit and we had broken motor mounts and everything. There's people from, different race teams coming over to help because everyone's just in it for the, just the experience, the personality, the characteristic, the persona of it all. You're there for, everyone wants to go to there to race, but you go there to just build friendships. And that's what it's all about. To build something that you can relate to, that you can find a common ground with, and that you can be comfortable with.
Which I'll cover. I would say Warfighter Made is our first sponsor, but I want to cover them last. I mean, we've covered them
first
already,
and last.
but first and last.
And in between.
Okay. So honorable mention first, Robert Blanton and Warfighter Made. But next, I would say, is Charles Lahan, Big World Trailers in Fort Worth, Texas.
That's what got Danny and his Jeep up here.
I would not be up here at the secret undisclosed location, which took 13 hours for me to get here. Brand new trailer hooked up. If you need a trailer, go hook these guys. Go see these guys. They will not screw you over. They will give you a fair deal. I promise. If they don't, they will give you a good deal. So go to Charles Lahan's Trailer World in Dallas. They've been around forever. And there's a reason they've been around forever. And the owner, I sat down with him. I told him what we're trying to do. And he was immediately on board. And the reason I found out about him was because I heard he was a veteran-friendly business that helped out veterans. And I went and talked to him, and that was very true. Very true. And so I can't thank him enough, because as we're doing this racing series, we're going to be driving all over the U.S., and the last thing I wanted was what I could afford was a used trailer. Mm-hmm. And, I didn't want to get broken down somewhere, stranded, because I'm going to be putting a lot of miles in this trailer to get a brand new trailer for what they did and hooked me up. I can't thank him enough. So go see them if you need a trailer, and they will shoot you straight. I found that being able to trust people, I'll pay more for being able to trust a company.
Someone that you can connect
than just
with.
Than just finding a deal. They've got a cool story. You can trust them.
Where are they at?
They are south of Fort Worth.
Okay.
Just before you get into Fort Worth, they're south of there. There's a lot of trailer companies around there, so it's hard to find one to buy from.
Mm-hmm. They're the ones to buy from, huh?
Yeah, but them and PRP Seats.
Aaron. He's the man.
We've been sitting in these seats for over 2 hours.
I am more comfortable now than I was 2 hours ago. Seriously.
I seriously feel like I've been sitting in a fucking recliner, on the most comfortable couch you've been sitting on.
I don't know if you can see on this video, but I have a American flag. He's got Warfighter Made logo.
Here,
and they'll do custom embroidery. But literally, my back is bad from being blown up and carrying the wreck for a lot of years and everything, and I get very uncomfortable driving in my truck for 10 minutes, but I've been sitting in here for 2 hours, and I could be here for another 2 hours.
Besides the fact that these are designed to keep you safe, you feel locked in, and that's what you want. So when you're going over all these rocks and everything, or just off-roading, you don't want to be bouncing all over the place and hitting your head on the roll cage and stuff like that. I feel super locked in. And razors, if you're planning on sending it, as the new phrase, if you're gonna send it.
First of all, I'm gonna say we had experience in the brand new razors. No offense, players, we love you guys, but those razor stock seats are subpar.
Which are fine for when people are driving the speed limit in the national park,
But who drives
which
the
is
speed
like
limit
30
in
miles an
national
hour,
parks?
and
'Cause
like
we got pulled over for not doing
you're
that.
on like normal roads.
Yeah, but PRP makes the seats that fit directly into the race locations, and it's more comfortable, safer, stylish, and not to mention you have just great hospitality the second you get on that phone. But yeah, Razor, great things. Your seats, PRP can take over that.
Yeah, and I think there's a reason the PRP's at all the Razor events.
Very conveniently.
Yeah.
They're doing the right thing, and again, he's homegrown, and he's very genuine in what he does.
Go to if you're thinking that you just need to stick with stock seats, go to UTV Fails on Instagram and watch some of those videos of people flying out of their UTVs when they just like flip over once, or and you ought to see some of those flip overs. They can happen a lot easier than you think. And if you don't have a PRPC with harnesses, you're flying out. Working in the medical field, I've seen partial amputations which turned into amputations because this dangling arm outside of your window gets ripped off, and guess what? Sometimes you don't have enough muscle there to keep that arm, and it gets taken off.
Speaking of not having enough muscle, what can you do about that?
Work out in the gym.
Oh, what gym would you say?
Which is my latest sponsor, just in, hot off the press, Extreme Iron Pro Gym. Extreme Iron Pro Gym. And the Iron Military Program. These guys, all right. Mark Madal is the owner of this gym. Is one of the most phenomenal trainers. Brilliant mind. He's been training forever. He's been written up in all these publications. He's trained a bunch of professional athletes. He took on my older brother as a personal project. He had heard about my older brother. My older brother was burned.
I said talk about your older brother for real quick so people can kind of get a frame of reference here.
Real quick, my older brother was in the Army, West Point grad, Ranger, officer, got blown up in Afghanistan in IED. He was in a Humvee. He got burned, covered in diesel fuel, and burned over 30% of his body. Got medically retired out of the burn unit in San Antonio. After like 160, 190, 200 surgeries or whatever. Doctors and physical therapists told him he was at where he's at. They couldn't get him any better. This is what goes back to like saying, tell doctors to fuck off. So life hits you. He transitioned out. He goes to work, and he found himself really weak. Mark heard about him, brought him in, and he said, hey, dude, I know the doctors told you can't do this and that, and you can't do this workout or that workout. You need to be able to hold your kids. Like, my brother's pumping out kids, right? And
they got a full house over there.
You need to be at least hold your kids, interact with your kids, right? This is quality of life stuff. And so fuck what the doctor said. We're going to get you in shape. Sam couldn't hold himself up in a push-up position. Sam now is a fucking monster in the gym. Lifting the same weight or more than me, depending on the exercise. He's totally like muscled out. And so when I got out of the military with brain injury, Mark said, oh, yeah, you come in, I'll train you too. And it's been phenomenal for me. It's been one of the best recoveries for me out of everything I've done. And so we're trying to pass on that support. When Mark started his new gym, Extreme Iron Pro Gym, he started the Iron Military Program, which is all about getting guys off the couch, out of their little isolation circle, back in the gym, start plugging in with us, the veteran.
Even out of their comfort zone to expand their capabilities.
Yep. Get back in shape. Get around veterans, okay? Guys you can connect with, right? Because you have the military, you have that common wavelength, right? We're on the same page. We bring the same like intensity level to the gym.
Is he in Dallas too, or is he at?
Yeah, he's in Dallas. And so what they'll do is they will bring you in, and we'll sponsor your membership if you're going through a transition time, right? We're not talking about the veteran who has a white collar job that can afford it, right? We're talking about maybe your financial situation isn't too well. You get your gym membership sponsored, and you get plugged in with a trainer. This is also very important. So you get like a program. This is what you're doing. And I'll tell you what, it's huge. There's so many second and third order effects from this. You start getting in shape again, right? You start getting connected with the other veterans. You start getting connected with the civilian trainers, the other civilians at the gym.
Just feeling better, healthy
You're
overall.
bettering
probably.
yourself. You're bettering your life. You're starting to move in a positive direction. Everybody at the gym is also working on moving in a positive direction. So you're in this super
feeds off
feeds
that,
off
right?
this. And guess what? The other parts of your life start coming into it.
Funny how that works, huh?
It's interesting how it works. So that's what we're trying to do. What we need is veterans. We have tons of patriots, civilians, who are ready to pay for gym memberships. And we can always use more, but we also need to get the word out to veterans in the Dallas area. If you're ready to make a change in your life, come to the Iron Military Program at Extreme Iron Pro Gym in North Dallas.
Nice.
All right. They've also, I've started this with them. We're doing a mobile training program where I'm taking weights that they were able to hook me up with to take on the road. So as I'm traveling, I'm not missing out on my workouts.
So maybe we'll promote some weightlifting in some undisclosed cornfields.
So expect some mobile Iron Military workout videos to be coming shortly. So can't thank Mark, Pete, and all those guys at Extreme Iron Pro Gym enough, Frank. And they came in a big way to support the off-road racing team too, because it goes beyond Iron Military and working out in the gym. They see what we're also trying to do. They see the benefits of connecting with like-minded people and how that carries over to the off-road racing community. So they're actually one of our sponsors for this. And I can't thank them enough. Okay, so that brings us to Ultra 4 and King the Hammer's production. We're in contact with them through Warfighter Made, and they're coming in nicely. I won't go into details about it, but leads us to Warfighter Made again.
Can't say enough about them.
Can't say enough, and I'm going to include a link to donate to them because they are nonprofit. They work off the donations of people like
all the veterans coming into transitioning that have difficult times. Some guys you'll see them, no legs and one arm, and he's driving his Jeep across the desert because of the accommodation that Warfighter Made has done to accommodate that vehicle for them to for lack of a better term, give them life again. Because you've seen these guys come back and they can't do what they used to be able to do, and so Warfighter Made does everything they can to get them around like-minded folks. And Warfighter Made, they have their nice shop now, and if you're a veteran, if you're active duty military, you can come in, work on your vehicle for free. And they have resident experts there to help you work on it, and pay for parts, and they will do all the work for free. You can go in there and work on it. They have a nice lounge, and it's just
learn something.
Like-minded folks being around like-minded folks, and it's again therapeutic, and that's medicine number one.
Yeah, and come to find out, the process to, let's say, all these guys, we've gotten a lot better at saving guys in combat, and we have a lot of guys coming back missing limbs. We've gotten a lot better at saving them, but unfortunately, we have a lot more guys with missing limbs.
The thing is, you have to save people once they get into the transition of the civilian world. Is the hard part now. Getting
them driving again. From what we understand, the VA has a fucked up program that, whoever's in charge of providing vehicles for these guys missing limbs, they're not getting the picture. they're not customizing it per person, because guess what? Some guys have an amp right here at the elbow, some guys at the wrist. Some people are missing some fingers, Some people are missing both legs. Some of their high, below the knee. Everybody's different, and they require different modifications to their vehicle. But yet, the current system in place is trying to be very cookie cutter and give either way too much or, way too less and push everybody into a van. And guess what? It's not what everybody needs. That's not what matches everybody's life goals or needs and all that stuff. So I would say Warfighter Made is crushing it, and there needs to be more people that step up and seek out veterans that are amputated and be like, hey, how can I help you? If you have the experience in engineering and building stuff that works for guys. And so I've pointed several guys that had no idea about Warfighter Made or that was even possible. They're like, wow. And it can be completely life-changing. Somebody that goes from not being able to drive to being able to drive themselves around, that's huge. So can't thank Warfighter Made enough.
Great things there.
I'm going to continue to support them as long as I can.
And as much as we can.
As long as they, nobody's perfect, but as long as they keep doing what they're doing or anywhere close to it, I'm going to continue to support them.
They're in it for the better good of the veterans.
Yeah. But with all that, I can't wait to do more episodes with you, Zach.
We shall. Maybe it'll be at a different place than the non-disclosed location.
Yeah, exactly. But this has been a blast, and I can't wait to do the next one.
Maybe we'll do an outdoorsy one by the creek or something, huh?
I was thinking the same thing. All right. Until next time, guys, I'm going to get over this coughing fit.
Thanks for listening in, and it was a pleasure.
All right. And 3, 2, 1, and we're out.